to Nana that we are in the this sansaric world, and the sansaric world is full of name and form, and Prakriti is Trigunavalambini. So we go through Rajas, Tamas, Sattva in its own course. So bodily and otherwise also we need to do our yoga, and in the world, the prapancha also, to do it successfully, we need to have the what blessings of all Devloka also. Like even Krishna, when he went for any kind of war, he used to pray to Devi. Even when Rama went for the Yuddha with Ravan, Rameshwar, the whole temple has come up because of that prayers, the Lord Shiva. So all our avtaras also have done these kind of, because when we are in the prapancha, we are having children, we are otherwise naturally the celebration is a part of our existence of this samsara. So if we don't celebrate according to our prescribed by Vedas, then we deviate and we go towards tamasic celebration, or we whatever is going around us, we participate in that. So anyway, so why not at least in accordance with the Devloka, let's come together and do some celebration. Like for little example, because it's already going on, that's
Is
why
it,
I'm saying
uh,
that
I
Rudras
think
are coming up.
are
Madhuri
you
ji,
okay? Yeah.
reserve this question for tomorrow's session
Yeah.
so that you can present it
Yeah,
tomorrow.
but is it relevant or like
Yeah,
totally
please.
irrelevant?
See, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
you should ask the question
I
when
think
he asked you, so, I mean, just want you to know, like, he explained this whole day, thing today. This is my take on it. And Dr. Brahmer also asked the same question. And he clearly explained that this is Bhagavan Krishna says, who is the manifested form of the unmanifested one. We have to take his word for it if you are pursuing this path. He's not saying you cannot do this, do that. He still, if you want to do that, you still follow all those things. But you're not, then you're kind of deviating from this mumukshutvam. That's all he's saying. So you have to clearly understand whether you do this or you do this. Okay, there is only two choices here. Okay, you want to pursue with that, then you pursue that, and then you steer when you're ready. Then you steer towards this goal. If you are not, then I mean, if you are already going there, then he's saying you devote all your time pondering over like who you are, try to understand what you are. You have to understand yourself to go within. If you are focusing on all the worldly things, then you are only focusing outward. It's not inward. So it is, yeah, dhyana is must, your puja or whatever prayer, those things, yeah, it will lead you to the mumukshutvam. But you focus on this unmanifested one and focus on that. That's what he explained today. But if you still have that question, you go ahead and ask them, so that we have to focus on what we are doing in the class. This is what I think, in my understanding is, and I think he already explained that in this class today.
yeah, but you're welcome to ask him, Madhuri. You can ask him tomorrow. So let's take that up tomorrow. I mean,
Okay.
we are having these discussions so that we can clarify and then move forward. No, so any doubt, any lingering doubt, like I had myself, it's best to express and then move forward.
Yeah, my takeaway from today's class was very clear. You need to know your goal. What do you want? And it was very, very clear. And that's where you should walk the path. I mean, not keeping anything else in the mind. Just follow your goal. He answered, right? I
Yeah.
asked him whether to, how do this, the continuation of tradition, and is that my goal? Then they follow it. But if your goal is to have the liberation, then follow that. It depends totally on you.
That's what the priority is, right? If it's clear, then. And somebody mentioned about being a part of celebrations. Yes, but what is the end objective? If it is still to fulfill your desires, then yeah, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. We'll be in that circle. If we are willing to just participate for the sake of participation, that's okay. It's fine. Celebration or whatever that you're doing. But if we are always propitiating deities to get something, then there's no, it's still a bondage. Cannot get out of it. This is what I believe. I don't know whether it's right or wrong.
Jai Gurudev. Like it said, it's Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga. Every yoga is important for achieving the moksha. So in Bhakti Yoga, like what will we follow in Bhakti Yoga? I am a bit confused now because it's
That's
all
the
like
means, no, Savitaji. It's the means to the end, right? After a while, when the end is clear, slowly these means are all leading us there. But finally, we have to understand, yes, now I don't probably anymore need that to be always clinging on to only bhakti, right?
Yeah, and
Once
Yeah,
bhakti
but
towards the ultimate, bhakti towards the nirguna.
Nirguna.
Now we are having the bhakti towards saguna. The bhakti can be aimed at nirguna.
Yeah,
I
that
think
is
Nanaji towards the end mentioned, at the end, what he said is, you have to see that divine in everything and everyone around.
yeah. The
And
Bhagavad
this is the
Gita
ultimate.
itself.
Yeah. Then you have really reached there, or at least almost reached there.
so should we leave our like what all we are reading Vishnu Sahasranam, or it was some time back also I had this confusion and I asked somebody, he said no, you continue with all this along with meditation because after doing meditation you you are doing it only mechanically initially. It's only that after some time you do it, you get engrossed in that whatever you are doing, but initially it is a mechanical thing. So after doing meditation you feel that I'm wasting my time doing all this. I could have read something, or I could have done something else. So that confusion I was having from quite some time.
These are things that you should let things happen. The meditation also is happening, right?
Yes.
We can't go and sit and say, I'm going to meditate. It will happen.
Yeah.
So these are things, yeah, Vishnu Sahasranam, also for Chitta Shuddhi or Antakarna Shuddhi, right? Eventually, once these are getting polished, after a while, they all drop off on its own.
I think they will drop off on its own because as the time will pass by, I think it
Your
it
inner
will be
call.
automatically done. Yeah.
Your inner call
Concentrating
at
on the
is that you will
Nana
be
also
guided.
mentioned that it is based on our own samskaras that we hold on to certain things. The need to chant, the need to do puja, the need to do some rituals, all that is also dependent on our samskaras and what you have decided to do, what you want to hold on to. Now, a simple example is we are three sisters. My the other two sisters are not into so much of ritual practice as much as I am. Because somewhere deep down, I had this thing that if I don't do it, how am I going to pass it on to the next generation? So therefore, that was the impetus for me to continue doing it. But after having reached the stage when, irrespective of whether you do or not, tradition will continue. That is not your goal. The goal, you have to be, I mean, I'm talking for myself. I have to be clear in my mind what I want to pursue in this life, in the rest of my lifespan. So um, if it is keeping up tradition as my priority, then mumukshutvam will go to the back seat. So,
And I think Brahmaraji, it all boils down to, for what are we doing it? Yes, you wanted to keep the tradition alive, so you are doing it. Yes, that Nanaji clarified that we don't need to worry about it. But if we are doing it for some materialistic goals, then again we have lost it.
But anyway, in this samsaric world, we need to do our duties, no? Like we had to earn the money, we
Do
need
the
to
duties.
run our home, and see celebration. Now we have our own small units, manufacturing units. We have lot of workers there, so some kind of togetherness or to feel that. See, it's a very mechanical thing. The energy over there, because the material we are using is a rubber. It is a chemical. All chemicals we are using there. So once in a while, having the Satyanarayana Puja, all workers and all managers and everybody coming together and celebrating in the name of the deities, it purifies that atmosphere and it brings all everybody together on one platform. And it is needed. Otherwise, you will anyway party. And we know that what is going on around us, the definition of party and all, cutting the cake and having the drinks and dance and everything, that becomes a very firm ritual. We need to see to it that we do all this. Utsava is a very much part of our tradition. If we don't keep it, definitely the Western culture is overpowering us so much. So it becomes our responsibility to see to it that the all celebrations and the life pertaining to the prescribed by Vedas should take the priority now. And that is why anyway we will be doing certain kind of celebration in the factory, right? So why not in the name of Satyanarayan Puja in the Shravan? That is some pious and some what you can say sanctity and pavitra and sattvic celebration it takes the format. Otherwise, it goes toward tamas, especially in Mumbai, rajasic and tamasic.
Madhuri ji, the thing is here, you are the one, you are the seeker. So the Gita Shastra, what I understand, what in the import that I understood from what Nana was sharing, is that it is your mumukshutva. That what you're explaining now is you wanted to do to purify the atmosphere for the workers so that they don't go party outside and all that. But the Gita Shastra is a moksha Shastra. The most important person is you. So this is for you. It is not for everybody else. That is what I understood. You do not need to worry about tradition and upkeep and things like that, because if you are so totally rooted in the mumukshutvam, you will follow it will guide you. That itself will guide you into what you want to pursue. All the others will come as an offshoot. If you're pursuing Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma and that is what you want to attain, then that itself, if you keep that as priority, everything else will fall in place. But I think we should not lose that sight. That is what is important. I think that is what I understood.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Actually, that's right.
otherwise, see, we will be fritting away our time our limited lifespan in doing everything else, which are like, the shloka says, fruitless actions, knowledge which is baseless, things like that. So we might be fritting away all our wakeful time in such activities. Instead, if we could use that in contemplation or satatam kirtayanto mam, that is keeping him in mind throughout. That is what I understood.
But ultimately, I think a person will take a decision what to do depending on its prakriti. Though we
Correct.
might have this jnana of
Right, right.
keeping this, I think if someone is feeling so much of wanting to do for the society and all, he must be having somewhere that kshatriya bhavana. And he is born a kshatriya who wants to protect everyone, who wants the welfare of everyone. That person has come with that prakriti, and that's why that person might be feeling so strongly. But having this jnana of keeping your goal as the ultimate, I don't know how much we can achieve that if we are born with so much of strong vasana of doing something. Like even I was doing the rituals very mechanically, and my puja would be the cleanliness part would be the most of it. Hardly I have paid any attention towards, I have not seen anything. My puja would be the cleanliness, doing things very meticulously. That was part of my, that was my involvement in the ritual itself. Actually, what did I do the puja part? Oh, gathered all the samagri, everything, keeping it clean, very meticulously. I will do everything. But what have I achieved every time I asked? Yes, it has created a positive environment in the house, and we celebrated everything. But with what intention I was doing, I'm not very clear. It is just that someone has passed it on to me. I need to pass it on to someone. That was the only thing in my mind. Never had my heart into it. So that was my, I have come with, and I wanted to pass it on to my next generation. That was the only intention I have when I'm doing some ritual.
And I think, look, eventually we have to transcend the intellect. Many times our intellect will give us enough and more reasons why something should be done. And it will have really valid justifications for that. We have to transcend that, right? So that's where this knowledge, when it's given and we realize, yes, do whatever is necessary. If it's the need of the hour, it has to be done. Do it and drop it. That's it. But I think trying to justify that it needs to be done, maybe there we are still at that intellectual level. We haven't gone past that.
You're right. Because the mind gives so many
So
justifications
many
why
reasons.
you have to give,
Yes.
why you have to stick on to it. That's why
It's
Nana
only
at the very beginning had mentioned, as part of Nitya Karma, he said, you decide what you want to do as part of Nitya Karma, and then stick to it. Stick to it and do it every day. That becomes your Nitya Karma. So that one, each one has to decide what their Nitya Karma is. And
if only everybody had access to this Veda, I think these many religions wouldn't have happened, I feel.
Yeah,
Isn't it? Because we went into branches and
yeah.
Even if
Hariom.
it's a
but again,
different
I
branches,
think
it
one more word of caution probably is, uh, we don't need to feel guilty about what we are doing as well. That's another trip the mind can take. So it's okay, because as everyone is on different stages of evolution, it is going to happen to each one at different stage. Yes, we should probably stick on to the end goal and let that happen as and when it's ready for us to happen. But either feeling guilty about doing something which today probably emphatically Nanaji said may not be required. It's okay. Mokshatva is our end goal, but each one will get it, or it will happen to us by the grace of the divine at different stages. So we don't probably need to feel too guilty about it and suddenly feel, am I doing something very wrong? No, it's a part of our evolution. It is also required for us to reach a particular level of Shuddhi. So that's why it's happening through us. It's not that I am doing it. It's happening through me at this stage, because that's the need for me to reach that end goal, because end goal is still very clear to us, right? As seekers, if we are sitting and listening to it every day, spending this much time, means that that seed has been planted by the divine in us. Now when that sprouting will happen for each one of us will depend again on him only. Yes, our effort is required, that we are doing from our side for sure, and rest we should let it happen. If we still have that kartrutbhavam, that I am going to do it, I am going to get a fast track to moksha, it won't. It will take its own time for each person. This is how I see it. But we don't get into a guilt trap, neither to a something saying whether it's wrong, right, doesn't matter. It's okay.
Thank you so much, Vijayji. Thank you.
So the question link, I'm not sure whether all of you are able to access that. Please check, because when I tried to access the question link to put in these questions, it said it's no longer accepting it. But when I went to the Google form which I created, it said it was still accepting. So there was this disparity. But in case there is a problem with the link, you can post your questions on the WhatsApp group, or I will post Nana's email ID. You can post it to him directly. Yeah. So, and you can copy it to me as well, so that I'll be able to share screen. And before we go to chapter 2, just wanted to confirm from the group that is here whether the shift of timings will be okay for all of you.
Yes, for me it's fine.
Is it okay with everyone? I'm not sure about Suma, what time it will be in Australia for her. She's not there today in this group. So think about it. You can let us, we're there tomorrow. I would not be there. Yeah. You can put it in the group, or you can send a message.
What about Atma Bodha? Are we doing it?
It's already 6:30 now, Renal. Maybe we'll keep it for another day where we can start with Atma Bodhs. It'll take a
Okay.
good half an hour plus.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So did we read the value of money last time?
No,
Read it
from there only we had to read the value of
to
money.
start from here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Swamiji was talking of the senses as reporting, as just reporters, and us having fancies in our mind, and how whether we act or not, depending on our discrimination. But then there is this was with relation to the kurmongani va sarvashaha, like the turtle withdraws its limbs when faced with danger. So just by withdrawing your sense organs, you're not it's only compressing, suppressing your sense organs, because the rasa is still there, that uh, the emotional value that you have is still there. So in that context, we'll continue. The value of money. That money does not give you security is a fact. But money does give you a house, health, haircuts, and a variety of other necessities and comforts. Money is not something that has no value whatsoever. Because it has an objective value, it cannot be dismissed totally. With reference to its emotional value, money is used to measure success. If someone comes to see you in a new car and your car is battered, you find yourself wanting to have a new car. When money is used to measure your success, there is always a feeling that you have not made it. I did not do this and I did not do that is one of the many inner tapes indicative of a subjective emotional value that cannot be dismissed. How can you withdraw from that rasa, that taste that is always there? To suppress the value is not the answer, because suppression is nothing but a volcano that blows its top one day. Whenever there is suppression, this problem arises. Here, Krishna told Arjuna how the subjective value is dealt with. The word Vishayas usually means sense objects, but in the present context, it stands for the senses. The topic discussed in the previous and following verses. Based on similar expressions found in the Shastra, Shankara, in his commentary on this verse, converts sense objects into sense organs. Here, the sense organs belong to a person who does not take to any sense object, who denies himself or herself sense objects, who does not have any sense pursuits, nirahara. Ahara means sense objects and refers to that which is taken by you. Food is called ahara because it is eaten, taken by you. The one who does not feed the sense organs is therefore called a nirahara. Krishna also referred to this person as a dehi, meaning one who is alive in a physical body. Shankara makes the point here that the person who engages in a rigorous discipline of sense withdrawal can be either a viveki or an aviveki. He or she can even be deluded, a fool, murkaha api. In all cases, the sense organs that are withdrawn from the sense objects come back to oneself. Vishaya vinivartante. But even though the sense organs come back and sense objects are no longer with the person, the taste for the sense objects remains. Rasavarjam vinivartante. In other words, the subjective emotional value for them is still there. If the person is deluded, an intellectual value will also be there. So the meaning of ahara is ahriyate iti ahara. Ahara is that which is taken in. Therefore, it can mean food or any sense object in general. Okay. So if the person is deluded, an intellectual value will also be there, impelling the person to perform rigorous disciplines, tapas, merely because someone said that they should be done. The difference between a viveki and an aviveki then is that the viveki will only have the subjective value, not the intellectual value, whereas the aviveki will have both the subjective and the intellectual values. Knowledge alone removes rasa. Does anyone want to share or do anything? The last paragraph. So a person who withdraws from the sense objects can be either a viveki or an aviveki. So just by withdrawing the sense objects does not mean you are free from them, because the rasa might still be there. The emotional value that you give that might still be there. And knowledge alone removes rasa. In general terms, rasa is a sense and is commonly used to mean raga or liking. Shankara describes it in the same way. Anything that is pleasing to you may be referred to as raga or rasa. This is the value that remains inside a person's heart and mind, even after having withdrawn the sense organs from it. This rasa too goes away, Krishna said, when the self is known. Rasopi param drishtva nivartate. This means that when a viveki who pursues self-knowledge and is judicious about his or her present pursuits withdraws the senses, there is no suppression. The viveki is only living a life of meaningful discipline, whereas for a person who practices sense withdrawal without pursuing this knowledge, the withdrawal does amount to suppression. I'm so relating this to what discussion we had in the morning. Is
Exactly.
no, it is so
Yeah,
relevant.
it is so relevant. I'm also thinking in the same line. Even for
Right.
fasting, Brahmaraji, it is so
Yeah.
relevant.
Mm, correct. So because for me, I'm just talking for myself, because I have a value for the puja, I would, I might not do it because Nana had told me, for instance, but that rasa might still be there. That will go away only when the self is known. Rasopi param drishtva nivartate. That this means that when a viveki who pursues self-knowledge and is judicious about his or her present pursuits withdraws the senses, there is no suppression. Then there is no suppression. So it is
Yes.
not because someone said Ekadashi fast is important, you're doing it. You're doing it
Mm.
is knowledge that you are pursuing self-knowledge while doing it. So then you're not just suppressing your hunger because
Yes.
someone said it is good. No?
Yeah. And as Vijayji said, for doing or not doing, the guilt component, it should not be there. Neither for
Correct.
doing nor for not doing as well.
Mm.
Because our mind is such a clever, that immediately it will find the reasons for doing or not doing.
Mm.
And I think that's how important for knowing your Swadharma and doing the Swakarma. Very important.
And we might do it because it helps us further in our pursuit, right? Like Ekadashi fasting is recommended in the Shastras because it helps you in cleansing your whole system. And with that, the knowledge getting further assimilated into your system becomes easier, becomes better. So for that, you
Yes,
might do, not for the reason of maybe I'll get something because I do Ekadashi fasting, or not for that reason anymore.
Correct.
correct. That's what I
And
was yesterday also,
That is
no?
true.
That uh, uh, means pranam karo devlok and all devas also, and seek the ultimate, taking the blessings from them, not for some joys here and there or comforts here and there in this world, but for our further journey,
Correct.
for the
मैं
ultimate.
Ekadashi, I never did any Ekadashi fasting, okay, till very recently. But of late, I have started doing only because now the goal is getting very clear as to what I really want to do. So far, I have never done Ekadashi fasting. But now, because I feel that this is helping me in this journey, is when I started doing it.
And I could see how strongly you were defending your case, Brahmaraji. Knowing you, how much you like these rituals.
Yeah. No, because that is quite, I think that samskara is quite deep for me.
Mm.
So there was a conflict and I needed some clarification there. And yeah. Mm.
I think Swami is making us very clear as we are going forward here as well.
Correct. Correct.
But you answered it yesterday for, I think, was that somebody's question, like we need blessings of all these demigods to uh, seek that, I mean, to be on this path of what goal we are trying to achieve. But then you answered yourself, when you are seeking that goal, why do you need their blessings through which these demigods have come? This was your answer yesterday.
Yeah, that is the mind, sometimes it gives some, but then the rasa is still there. So that as long as that rasa is there, the mind will keep coming back to justifying that this is right,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe the answer had come from a different space.
Yeah.
Aste aste, eventually, this is my humble opinion. So don't get me wrong. The fact that we believe in demigod or other deities is all as some ladders to reach a particular point, right? At a point, I don't know. I'm talking for myself. Frankly, I don't means I don't believe there are any demigods. It's a concept we have got to believe. Okay, yes, इससे ये मिलेगा, उससे वो मिलेगा. That's all a belief, right?
But for me, my concept of demigods is not to um, not to satisfy some limited ends. For me, demigod is nothing but God. That is the problem I have.
Yesterday,
I
somebody
believe,
was mentioning, no, ki Ganesh or some will give us strength or will remove obstacles.
right.
This is a belief, right?
Mm.
It's a pure belief. That strength, that obstacles going out is all the inner strength.
And you're going to the ministers, you are not approaching the prime minister. This is what Nanaji also was saying.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
you need to go to the ministers when you can approach the prime minister?
Correct. So those things are given for us to just relate to, because yes, as human beings and as our design is, it goes outwards. So outward के लिए yes, ये है, वो है, pray to this deity, pray to that deity, वो सब है. But slowly वो सब कुछ अंदर ही जाना है. Eventually, it's all going and realizing our inner strength and realizing that deity or the ultimate is there inside. Yesterday or day before, Gurudev was saying, no, when somebody asked, what is the truth or something, he said, truth is me and you. That's the only truth. So that's what ultimately this should all be leading slowly there. But yes, it's all going to take time, not overnight. It won't happen. And it has to happen. It can't be something we will say, I'm going to make it happen. No, it will happen. It will happen on its own. But there, yes, grace of the divine, grace of all the masters and guru we have in our life will make it happen for us.
What about
And
these
because we
demigods?
cannot
Are these
think-
mentioned in Puranas or in Vedas? Vedas, I think what Nanaji was saying, it was all Panchamahabhutas, right? Like he was talking about Panchamahabhutas, Indra, Vayu and all. So,
see, any pujas we do, na, we take these like all directions also, dishas also as angels, and then
correct.
all planets
That is all
also,
Prakriti and
and
Panchamahabhutas. right?
Yeah,
But what
and
about these Ganesha and all the Devis and
yeah,
all? Are these mentioned in Vedas or is it is in the Puranas?
Upanishad, Nanaji told today, no? They are in Upanishad.
Upanishad? The
Yeah.
Upanishads have been talking only about Brahman, right?
No,
No?
Upanishads are the Vedanta aspect. He said
Hmm.
they're all mentioned in the Karma Kanda aspect. They're
Hmm.
there. All these demigods are all mentioned, different yagas and homas and
Upanishads, okay.
No,
no,
not
not
in
in
Upanishad.
Upanishads.
Not in Upanishad.
No.
They
Upanishads,
are in the Karma Kanda. This
Karma
Upanishad
Kanda,
is the Jnana Kanda. Jnana
yeah,
Kanda is talking more about the self.
is only
yeah,
talking about the self.
because we
But
cannot live in the void. Na? Some activity, some karma, when we are into Rajas, Prakriti is Triguna Lambini. So Rajas is going to dominate.
Madhuri ji, I want you to
Ultimately.
reserve this question for tomorrow.
नहीं हम लोग रिजॉल्व कर देते हैं इधर ही रिजॉल्व कर देते हैं हम लोग but
So,
Nanaji is so clear about it, focus on the ultimate, and like I was also of that nature only from childhood. But my
no,
mom used
because,
to say कि सगुण से
yeah,
निर्गुण की ओर जाना है, like सगुण से
mm,
निर्गुण की ओर जाना है. My aim was always to experience the ultimate. But definitely when we go for Navratri and when we come back, the state of mind and the whole this thing is so uplifted for so long time. So naturally, focusing towards the ultimate also becomes so spontaneous and comfortable without any this thing. So definitely doing these things uplifts the soul very easily because it is in alignment with the lifestyle prescribed by Vedas. No, otherwise the mind is so chalak. We cannot live in the void, na. घर पे बैठ के ऐसे ही टाइम पास लाइक वी स्टार्ट सर्चिंग हियर एंड देयर समथिंग वी विल गेट engaged
we are
involved.
not supposed to do, we are not supposed to be in a void, Madhuri ji. We are not supposed to, since we are mumukshus, pursuing self-knowledge is what we are supposed to do. So we are not going to
Right.
be in a void, correct?
but ultimately the aim is to be in the void, right?
No, leave that. I'm not talking of that ultimate void. What I'm talking of in her app, in what we're discussing now, is she was saying we might slip into tamas, we might slip into. So,
Yeah, correct.
but this is what Swamiji is very nicely mentioning. Maybe I will just read the next two paras before we close today. I know
Okay,
we're going.
I didn't get,
Please.
I couldn't hear. Where is the mention of demigods you were saying? I couldn't hear it properly.
In the Karma Kanda aspect of
Which, and it is a part of Vedas?
Shruti, yes. But
Shruti.
that
Yeah.
is the Shruti. Smriti also it is mentioned. Smriti, all the Puranas are part of the Smriti.
Hmm.
But Vedanta is talks only of self-knowledge. That is the
Correct.
Upanishad part, the end of the Vedas.
And someone said it is mentioned somewhere. I didn't get that part.
Mentioned when the
In
Karma
which
Kanda.
scriptures? Karma Kanda is mentioned in either. Is
Karma
it?
Kanda is the aspect of Vedas that talks of rituals, of yagas and homas and all that.
Okay,
Mantras.
and which is that Veda? Anybody?
Mostly the Rig Veda.
Rig Veda. Okay.
Rig Veda, it talks of all the rituals and all that.
Mhm. But is there a mention of these demigods or only Panchamahabhutas?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We know.
Okay.
So the literal meaning of the word drishtva is having seen. But here it is used purely in the sense of knowing. What is to be known is I am that. Tat param brahma aham eva. It is not any other jnana. That Brahman is myself. There is no difference between the two. Knowing that I am Brahman does not imply a knower-known difference. And in the wake of this knowledge, the rasa goes away. Nivartate, meaning that it does not take the person for a ride. How the emotional value for sense objects can capture one's mind is explained by Krishna in the next verse. Once you can no longer be taken for a ride by the rasa, the knowledge of sense objects does not create any kind of craving or longing in you. It is seedless, nirbija, and therefore does not sprout, meaning that it does not set you up so that you are carried away by your fancies. However, when the clarity of vision is not there, meaning when knowledge is not there, elimination of the rasa is not possible. Therefore, knowledge in the form of clear vision, samyak darshana, has to be well established, steady, and firm. May you work on gaining this vision again and again, is what is meant here. Because if you give up working for this vision, the erroneous vision you have will not go away. People generally plan to work for clear vision only after they have fixed up everything in their lives. But it does not work that way. There is no fixing up of everything without the vision. So, the pursuit is twofold: yoga, self mastery, and jnana, self knowledge. So, we'll stop here. Swamiji is so clear. I think the more we stick to the Gita home study, I guess all our questions will slowly get answered.
Yes, very beautifully answered.
And
No?
Brahmaraji, and if
Yeah.
we apply these, we will all get liberated also.
Yeah, isn't it? See, all what we were discussing just now is so.
All answered.
See, may you work on gaining this vision again and again, is what is meant here. Because if you give up working for this vision, the erroneous vision you have will not go. This so applies to me right now. I can, it this clarity of vision is not there, meaning that if that knowledge is not there, that Advaita is not there, that as long as that Dvaita Bhavana is there, that elimination of rasa is not possible. Because in order to pursue, in order to get that value, you go on following your rasa and you will justify n number of times. Yeah. So
I
shall
think we will have readings always first and then we will go for Manana because it's so clear. It is
yeah,
crystal clear with the reading.
I guess so. But then we should share also our inputs. Maybe we should not spend so much. We should have a time limit. That's what we've been looking at. Maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes of sharing, and then we cut at that point and then read. Because
Yeah.
only when we read, because see, what we are sharing in Manana is our input, our own perception, our own thing. It may be false, it may be true. And it might be misleading also sometimes if it is not true. But that way, when we stick to reading the Gita home study, then it is coming from the Guru Vakya, so it will lead us on the correct path rather than get misled, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Manana sessions are too good. We are enjoying thoroughly.
Very important,
So,
Manana.
for tomorrow, I just wanted to request, and Suma is not here today. Um, I would request one of you to, to share screen from the beginning, including the Manana. So I will put in a word to Suma in case Suma is able to do, because she's done it before, then there is no issue at all. But otherwise, we will have to get someone else to chip in. Hmm? for tomorrow. And from day after, if we are doing the revised timings, I will be there. No problem.
Tomorrow is 7:30 only, no? Sorry.
Yeah, tomorrow is the same time. Tomorrow we'll have it at the same time, 7:30.
Not finish my Kriya by then.
Yeah, no problem, Vijayji. If you are otherwise busy, we'll see whether Suma can do it.
Yeah, same long Kriya we will have to go.
Tomorrow is Sunday, no? Yeah.
Sunday, yeah. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it works out. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Dhanyavada.
Thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Thank
Dhanyavad.
you.